The story of Alaska begins thousands of years ago, long before it became part of the United States, and even before the name Alaska was known. Indigenous peoples were the first to inhabit this vast, rugged land. They crossed the Bering Land Bridge, a strip of land that once connected Alaska and Siberia, around 15,000 years ago during the Ice Age. These early settlers spread across the region, developing unique cultures, languages, and ways of life. Some of the most prominent indigenous groups in Alaska include the Inupiaq and Yupik in the Arctic, the Aleut in the Aleutian Islands, the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian in the southeastern coastal areas, and the Athabascans in the interior. These indigenous peoples were incredibly resourceful. They adapted to Alaska's diverse environments, from icy tundras and snowy mountains to lush rainforests and coastal waters. They hunted whales, seals, caribou, and fish, building rich traditions and oral histories that tied them to the land. Even today, these cultures are a vital part of Alaska's identity. The outside world first became aware of Alaska in the late 1740s when Russian explorers arrived. In 1741, the Danish explorer Vitus Bering, sailing for Russia, led an expedition that made first contact with the region. His journey revealed Alaska's abundant natural resources, especially its lucrative fur trade. Soon, Russian traders began hunting sea otters for their luxurious pelts, which became highly sought after in Europe and Asia. This marked the beginning of Russian colonization in Alaska. By the late 18th century, Russia had established settlements along the coast. The most significant of these was Sitka, founded in 1799. It became the capital of Russian America. Russian colonists built forts, trading posts, and churches, spreading their influence throughout the region. However, their presence was never very strong. Harsh climate and resistance from indigenous peoples made it difficult to control. Moreover, the Russian population in Alaska remained small, and the fur trade began to decline as sea otters became overhunted. In 1867, Russia decided to sell Alaska to the United States. At the time, the Russian Empire was facing financial difficulties and feared losing Alaska to Britain, which controlled Canada. They struck a deal with the US, and on March 30th, 1867, Alaska was sold for $7.2 million, about 2 cents per acre. This purchase was arranged by U.S. Secretary of State William H. Seward and became known as Seward's Folly, because many Americans thought Alaska was a useless, frozen wasteland. Little did they know how valuable Alaska would become. In the years following the purchase, the U.S. government paid little attention to Alaska. It was a remote territory, difficult to reach, and sparsely populated. However, this changed dramatically in the late 19th century with the discovery of gold. The Klondike Gold Rush of 1896 and subsequent discoveries in Nome and Fairbanks brought thousands of prospectors to Alaska, transforming it almost overnight. Towns sprang up, businesses flourished, and Alaska's economy began to grow. During the early 20th century, Alaska continued to develop. Railroads were built, such as the famous Alaska Railroad, which connected Anchorage to Fairbanks. Fishing and canning industries expanded, particularly salmon fishing, which became a cornerstone of Alaska's economy. The territory also became a key source of natural resources, including timber and minerals. World War II brought even more changes to Alaska. The Aleutian Islands, located in the far west, became a battleground when Japanese forces invaded the islands of Attu and Kiska in 1942. This marked the only time that U.S. territory was occupied by enemy forces during the war. Alaska's strategic importance as a military base grew, leading to the construction of roads, airfields, and defense installations. The Alaska Highway, connecting Alaska to the continental U.S., was built during this time, opening up the territory to more people and goods. After the war, Alaska's population grew steadily, and calls for statehood gained momentum. On January 3, 1959, Alaska officially became the 49th state of the United States. Statehood brought new opportunities and challenges. Oil was discovered at Prudhoe Bay in 1968, leading to the construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline in the 1970s. This pipeline allowed oil to be transported from the Arctic to the southern port of Valdez, transforming Alaska into one of the wealthiest states in the U.S. based on natural resource revenues. In 1964, Alaska faced one of its greatest natural disasters, the Great Alaska Earthquake. This 9.2 magnitude quake, the second most powerful ever recorded, devastated parts of the state, particularly Anchorage and coastal communities. It also triggered massive tsunamis, but Alaskans demonstrated incredible resilience in rebuilding their homes and lives. In the decades that followed, Alaska became known for its stunning natural beauty and wildlife. Tourism became a major industry, with visitors flocking to see glaciers, national parks, and the Northern Lights. Alaskans also continued to rely on fishing, hunting, and subsistence activities, maintaining a strong connection to their environment. Today, Alaska is a land of contrasts. It is both one of the most remote and one of the most modern states, with vibrant cities like Anchorage and Juneau coexisting alongside tiny villages accessible only by plane or boat. It is a place where tradition and innovation meet, where indigenous cultures thrive alongside modern industries like oil, fishing, and tourism. Despite its challenges, including climate change, which is affecting its glaciers and ecosystems, Alaska remains a symbol of adventure and resilience. Its history is a testament to the enduring spirit of its people, from the indigenous communities who first called it home to the settlers, miners, and dreamers who followed. Alaska's story is one of survival, adaptation, and the enduring beauty of a land unlike any other.